From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us early on your Monday night. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, President Trump says he is heading home from the hospital this afternoon. And here, closer to our home, Yellowstone County health officials lay out guidelines and rules as they announce potential steps to tighten restrictions and partially close down the county again. Well, County Health Officer John Felton says our health system is stressed and it's up to local residents to stop him from implementing new directives. Q2's Russ Riesinger is standing by now with details on our county possibly moving back tighter than phase 1 restrictions. Russ.
Yeah, Janelle, those tighter restrictions would go into place on Monday, November 2nd, possibly even sooner if the infection rate continues to rise here in Yellowstone County. Now, this past week, the positivity rate was 36 per 100,000. If it climbs to 40 per 100,000 the week of October 31st, those tougher restrictions would go into place. Now, it is the county health officer's call to make when it comes to imposing tighter restrictions. If it happens, it would mean group gatherings limited to 25 or fewer people, with the exception of schools. Restaurants and bars would be limited to 25% capacity. Places that sell alcohol would have to close by 10 p.m., and places of worship would be limited to 25% capacity.
Montanans have a strong sense of personal responsibility. This is our chance to prove that we care enough about the people in our community to be personally responsible for slowing the transmission of COVID-19. If we succeed together, we all enjoy the benefits of open businesses, open schools, and healthy family and friends. If we fail together, then all of us will suffer the effects of increased restrictions, more sickness, and more deaths.
There were 408 positive cases in the last week here in Yellowstone County. If that number jumps to 452 in a week's time, it means that we've exceeded the 40 per 100,000 positivity rate, and those additional measures will be taken. If it should go up to 50 at any time, Felton says the stricter restrictions would go into effect immediately. Now, he also talked about Halloween. He says it's not canceled, but it's strongly recommended that you forego any events that bring people from other households together. Janelle?
All right. Thanks so much, Russ. Well, all 56 Montana counties now have confirmed coronavirus cases. The last to add Petroleum County, which now has 1. There are also 4 new deaths to report today, 1 victim in each Bighorn, Cascade, Glacier, and Pend Oreille counties. That's a total of 195 deaths across Montana. Now, the state reports 212 new confirmed cases across the state. Yellowstone County with the highest count today at 34. Total active cases is right around 5,000. That's more than 10,000 Montanans have recovered. Well, soon President Trump will return to the White House after spending 4 days at Walter Reed National Medical Center for coronavirus treatment. Meanwhile, another top White House aide has tested positive for the virus. Skylar Henry is outside Walter Reed National Medical Center with more.
President Trump says he will be discharged from Walter Reed National Medical Center later this evening to continue coronavirus treatment at the White House.
Though he may not entirely be out of the woods yet, the team and I agree that all our evaluations, and most importantly, his clinical status, support the president's safe return home, where he'll be surrounded by world-class medical care 24/7.
President Trump's supporters gathered here for a 4th day. White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany is the latest high-profile official to test positive for COVID-19. McEnany wasn't wearing a mask when she spoke to journalists this weekend, and now the White House is urging members of the media to get tested. Despite being sidelined from the campaign trail, President Trump continues to use Twitter, sending at least a dozen tweets from his hospital suite here on Monday, urging his supporters to go out and vote.
I think we should be very cautious, as I've thought all along. And I'm going to continue to listen to the scientists.
2020 Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden hit the campaign trail in Florida after his latest COVID test came back negative. Vice President Mike Pence and his wife Karen also tested negative for the virus.
I spoke to the president a little while back, and he sounded great.
Pence is preparing to debate Democratic vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris in Utah on Wednesday. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Bethesda, Maryland.
Well, today the CDC updated its website to acknowledge that under some conditions, people spread out further than 6 feet or farther than 6 feet can still become infected with coronavirus via airborne transmission. Well, a massive wildfire that sparked in the Helena Lewis and Clark National Forest over the weekend has now burned nearly 3,000 acres. Yogo fire, first reported Saturday in the Little Belt Mountains, grew significantly over 24 hours due to dry conditions, high winds, and steep slopes. Now, visitors were evacuated on Sunday, and firefighters are asking residents to steer clear of the area. The cause of the fire is still unknown. Now turning to Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire, and the skies were pretty clear here last week, but that Yogo fire is bringing a little bit of smoke.
Yeah, it sure can. Let me show you what it looks like outside right now. As you can see, it doesn't look too bad in the Billings area. As you can see, if you look off in the distance, a little thin haze, but that's about all we see. But as we move on, you can see the story here. There's that smoke. It's just to the southeast of Great Falls. It's between Billings and Great Falls. And right now the wind's out of kind of the southwest, and it's blowing a lot of that stuff away from the Billings area. But watch what happens later tonight, maybe blowing that smoke in towards the Miles City area. I think we think it'll probably just maybe swing out of the southwest later on by maybe Tuesday afternoon. And then once it does that, the stuff goes from the southwest to the northeast. And then we'll see much more smoke from the other states in the west start sending more smoke our way by the time Thursday and Friday get here. And that's when it really starts to get pretty smoky here in the Billings area. But the next couple of days really doesn't look all that bad. And we'll have more in your forecast coming up in a few more minutes.
All right, thanks so much, Bob. Well, a few details released today after an apparent fight over dogs left one man dead in central Billings last night. The victim was shot in the head just before 8 o'clock on the 1300 block of Custer Avenue. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say an argument over the dogs escalated, then the victim left the suspect's home and then came back. Officers believe there may have been a struggle because the suspect had scratches on his head. No names or possible charges have been released. Officers say the victim was also armed with a gun. Well, the future is looking better for the Billings Mustangs tonight after the team received nearly $500,000 in federal coronavirus relief money. Montana Governor Steve Bullock toured the Mustangs facility at Dealer Park today to find out where that money is going to be spent. Q2's Mitch Laggy has that story.
At Dealer Park in Billings, Montana Governor Steve Bullock got a tour of the baseball facility from Mustangs owner Dave Heller. The Billings baseball team received about $440,000 in coronavirus relief money allocated by the state government. Mustangs owner Dave Heller said today that that money is enough to help the Mustangs weather the COVID-19 pandemic. Over the past year, the Mustangs have been pitched two curveballs: the pandemic and contract negotiations between minor and Major League Baseball. The Mustangs haven't taken the field in 21 months, playing their last game in September 2019. In that time, $0 in revenue from ticket sales or concessions have come in to the baseball team. Heller said the grant money will help the team pay its $60,000 a year rent to the city to play at Dealer, along with maintenance and utility costs.
The combination of MLB doing contraction and the uncertainty that breeds together with COVID-19 could have put the Mustangs out of business for good. And because of the state, I'm proud to be able to say to you all today that the Billings Mustangs will 100% definitely be playing next year in Dealer Park right here. No questions asked, no doubt whatsoever.
Heller said he believes Major League Baseball will reach a deal on a contract with the minor league teams by the end of this year. In Billings, Mitch Laggy, MTN News.
Thanks so much, Mitch. Now, Heller added that he will be able to start hiring back staff members as soon as the MLB releases a schedule. Well, Governor Bullock also stopped by a couple critical infrastructure projects in our area today. The first, the Lockwood Sewer and Water District. Last year, Bullock signed infrastructure bills to fund nearly $400 million in overdue sewer, water, bridges, buildings, and other public works projects. It was the first time the legislature had agreed on a statewide bond package in over a decade. Today, Bullock also checked in on the construction of the Yellowstone River Bridge segment of the Billings Bypass. That $100 million project is funded with federal and state dollars and is expected complete in 2021. Bullock's team says last week $32 million in existing bonds were refinanced to take advantage of lower interest rates and save taxpayers $7 million. Up next on tonight's MTN 530 News on Q2, the debate over legalizing marijuana in Montana heats up. Some saying if passed, will give a boost to public lands.